Welcome. In this video, we're going to be running through queries in MX Access. And first thing we're going to do is use the query wizard. Now, this is a built-in feature within Access that can help you simplify the steps in creating an actual query. So if I come up to the top here, right above the ribbon, and if I go click on Create, under Queries, you'll see Query Wizard. So let's just click on that one. And you're going to be presented with four options here. The first one is a simple query wizard, and that's the one we're going to choose. So I'm going to click OK. And now it's going to ask me which fields do you want in your query. So I'm going to select table employees, and I want to see the employee name. So I'm going to highlight, click the right arrow to bring that over. And I'm also going to bring in the ID. I'm going to click Next. What title do you want for your query? And the way I name my queries here, because this is an object within the database, I prefix them with QRY. And I'm just going to say query employees. You give an option of opening it to view the information or to modify the design, but we're going to just leave it on the default, which is to open the query. Click Finish. And there you've created your first query. Now that's nice, and it certainly helps you build out queries quickly, simple queries that is, but it really doesn't give you an understanding of how the query works. And if you were to do it manually, you can come down here to the right hand corner on the bottom and click Design View. And you'll see right away how it built the query out. So how do we get these fields down here? Well, let's say we wanted to add department. I can double click it. I can also come down here where it says table, select table employees, and then come up above for the fields, and it's going to give me all of those fields, and I can select it from there. So that's just one way that you can build a query using the wizard, and then you can go back into it and actually make your changes. But what if you didn't want to use a simple query wizard? Well, let's go ahead and delete that one. Let's come back up here to create, and let's click on query design. Now this is a little bit more abstract. So over here on the right hand side, you'll see add tables. So click on tables. I'm going to pull in, and there's two ways to do this. You can double click, or you can highlight, hold down your left mouse button and pull that over, because I want both these tables in. And what I'm going to do here is I want to link these two tables to bring back the relevant data that's associated with the records in here. I want to know, for example, the employee ID. I want to know the employee name, but I also want to know total amount of time they have for their PTO. So how do I combine these two tables? How do I link them? We're going to link them by these keys right here. So you have ID, and I'm just going to drag over to where this one says ID. So I hold down the left mouse key, and while holding down, I just drag it right. And that's going to link these two fields. Now, if I click Run, you'll see that there are my fields, my employee ID, there's my name, and there's the total. These two columns here, these come from table employees, and this last one comes from table PTO. So that's a quick and easy way to connect two different tables and to pull back relevant data. The key here is this ID field. There has to be a common field associated between both of these tables. You can also do what's called a make table query. So let's say, for example, and I'm going to cancel this back out, let's pull PTO over. And here's another way you can pull tables over. You can also pull it from the left under the all access objects. So I'm going to pull this over. And again, left click, hold it, drag it over to ID, and I'm going to bring in total again. But let's say that it's just not good enough to view this data. I want to actually create another table. Rather than manually creating a table, I can choose Make Table, and you'll notice right away it's going to give you the option for a table name, right? It's also going to say, hey, current database or another database. Let's say you wanted to link to another database. You certainly could do that. But notice how table name, it only lists the current tables, but I want a new table. And I'm going to call this table. And for this, we'll just say table employee PTO. And I'm going to click OK. All right, so now I have a make table. So what is this going to do? Well, if we run it, you'll get a message. Let's say you're about to paste 9,813 rows into a new table. We're going to say, yep, that looks good. And you'll notice right away on the left that table employee PTO was created. So if I open it, I now have a table with the results from this query, query 2. Let's say you wanted to remove this table. You don't want PTO anymore. If I just highlight it here, and I'm just going to hit delete on my keyboard, you'll notice that it removed the table from this area here. And then down here as well, it removed the reference to that particular record or that particular column in that table, PTO. So it's gone. It takes care of that for you. And now I want to delete all the data that I have in here. I don't want to delete this table, but I just want to delete the data within. How do I do that? So if I click on Query Design and I select Delete. Now, if I do that right now without updating these query tables, what I'm essentially doing is deleting all the data in both of these tables. So let's remove these two tables. And let's pull over table employee PTO. And let me double click this asterisk. So let's talk about this for a second. We have employee ID, employee name, and total. But let's say that I want to pull in all the fields down here to be displayed in my query or to delete in my query. If I double click the asterisk, you'll notice that what it does is it brings down field table employee dot asterisk. And what that's telling it is say, hey, pull in every field. If I go back to select table and I hit run, you'll notice that it pulled all three fields in. So back to design view, but I want to delete the data that's in there. I want to do all that data that's in there. So table employee PTO, delete from. Now let's click run and see what happens. You're about to delete 9,813 rows. Click yes. Now let's go back to select and let's run it. But now we've deleted all that data. Now what? Well, let's delete this table. Again, I highlight it, hit delete on my keyboard. Now I want to place some data into it. I want to do an append. But let's say I want to place table employees and table PTO back into this query. I want to apply that data. Again, left click, drag to ID. Now I want to do an append. And I want to append to table employee PTO. Okay. And this is in the current database. I know that I had employee ID in the table. And as soon as I double click it, you'll notice down here, it pulls it in from table employees, and then it says append to employee ID. And then the other one was employee name. So if I double click that, you'll see append to. Now what happens if I place department in here? Notice how this is blank because there isn't a field that matches this particular field in this table. And sometimes within your tables, your fields are not always going to match. So let's say we did have department within table PTO, but we called it DEPT. What you can do is just come down here and let's say DEPT is in there, or let's just say, hey, you know what? I want to append it to the total field, whatever it may be. You could do that, or you can just type it in. Either way. To delete this, I'm going to highlight it. Left click, click delete. So the other field we know that exists in this table employee PTO is total. So I'm going to double click that. And yes, I can confirm we have total there. So what does this do? This is going to take the select query, basically. We're going to run a select query. We're linking employees and table PTO. And the data that's generated from this query is now going to be pasted, or we say append, but it's actually going to be pasted or placed inside table employee PTO. We don't want to make a new table. We already have the table. So if I click run, it says you're about to append 9,813 rows. I click yes. If I click view, you'll see that, okay, that looks good. Go back to select, click run. Yeah, looks good. Still don't believe it. Open up table employee PTO, and there's the data. So now we've placed the data back into it. Let's go back to query design. There's another query type. It's called update. So let's say, for example, and now I'm going to remove these two tables, and I'm going to pull in table employee PTO. Let's say that the totals, which if I run this as a select, we see it's defaulted to 120. But let's say, for example, there was a change, and this year we're going to give everybody 130. How can I do a mass update? And the key being here, update. So if I click update, because I'm updating this particular table, if you come down here and field is total from that table, what do I want to update to? Well, I know it's a number. It's 120, so I want to do 130. Tab out of that. Click run. You're about to update 9,813 rows. Click yes. Now if I go back to select, click run, 130, click design view. Let's go into table employee PTO, and you can see that all of these fields, again, click to the last record, 130. It was 120, now it's 130. So now you've successfully updated or did a mass update on a table.